Hello YouTube, 87 Ricer here. So, I'm gonna do a gravel road ride on the icebear rocket. 3,955 miles on the little red rocket, almost 4,000 miles. I bought this bike new in 2022, and you know, this little 49cc has went through a lot. It went 1,000 plus miles without an oil change, so long that the oil plug itself actually was seized to the bottom, and when I went to go take it off, it cracked the original oil drain plug that had to chisel the old one out and take one off of a parts bike and put it on. That's how long seized up it was. But yeah, I'm gonna be taking it nice and easy on this road because you know I know what using a front brake on gravel does. I've done it enough on other scooters, just not to do it. There's some uphills and some downhills on this road, but it's a beautiful scenery. Tried coming out here on Sunday. You know, it was a very nice day on Sunday, and I mean the sun was shining, and you know, just about 5 o'clock, the clouds started rolling in, and then I heard that there was a clap of thunder, but I didn't hear it. So I had my kid with me, and as we were making our way down this road, I seen a white flash, and then I heard the thunder, and we made it to the bottom of this hill before I figured we'll just turn around and go back. So we got a little soaked. We got a little bit soaked. We weren't totally wet. Now Saturday, even though it had rained off and on all day, there was a brief spell where the sun was out, the sky was blue like this, and I had told my oldest, I said, let's go for a ride, we'll go down to the creek. We'll pass a few creeks. Well, as we were making our way out of town, I could see the rain clouds starting to build up, and I was like, we should be fine for a while, it's probably just going to pass on through. That wasn't the case. The rain started while we were midway through our ride, and so by that time we were already soaked, and I said, well, we'll just go ahead and see how the streams are doing. So we went to the first stream, and we were able to cross it, but the second one was more of a creek, and it was a long creek, and the water was really moving, and I was not willing to find out just how deep it is because I knew it could actually get up to your kneecaps in some areas, and with the water being up, you know, with that water, with the rain, you know, already being up to your kneecaps in some areas when it's fine, you know, I didn't want to take a chance. So we ended it at the first major passing, turned around and rode back home, and by the time we got back, we got a natural shower. Yeah, we got a natural, good word, shower. All that was just, I seen a carcass of an armadillo over there. I don't know what the rest of the carcasses were, but the other day, me and my youngest was riding, there was a bunch of buzzards riding off in that area, or flying from that area. I just spotted a couple of deer. Yep, they just ran. Oh, you guys didn't get to see it, but I did. Seen a couple of deer off in the distance over here. They're gonna hide in this grass, and then they're gonna run back the other way, because they know that me creeping alongside, they're like, we'll just go back the way we just ran from. Or maybe they're just sitting in the bush, waiting until I pass. So my oldest, she was making she was trying to make animal noises. Well, she was making animal noises, and she was having me guess what kind of animal noises were, or what they were. And I told her, yep, the only noise I'm making is with a 49cc 4-stroke through the path, through the gravel roads. Now, I honestly don't know how long this video is going to be because I won't know until I'm at the end. But, oh well, I know where this road comes out at, but I don't know how long it's going to take. Never actually timed it. If I was actually going fast, it probably wouldn't take long, but I cannot get enough of this countryside view. I mean, country living. Don't get me wrong, I like visiting cities, and I like seeing the tall skyscrapers, but living out in the country is where my heart is at. And when it comes to being out, I'll take this over a city any day. But yeah, almost 4,000 miles on this little 49cc. I have put this bike through a lot. It's been wrecked by a friend. It's been shared by friends. I've shared it with friends. And yeah, it's been through a lot. But I had other bikes that I bought beforehand that they went through a lot too, and then I just topped them off. Some of this gravel is a little loose, so I'm kind of squirrely. Just one-handing it. Taking my time. I can just imagine. It's like they're getting ready to add a building there, a foundation. But I can just imagine back in the early days. This is how people got around. There wasn't paved roads. This was back when like horse and buggy were the way, or horse and coach. You know, horse and wagons. I should say horse and wagons. You know, that's how they walked down these gravel roads, and even then they were most likely dirt. So I've had these moments where when I went to Branson and I went to the Titanic, each time I visited the Titanic that we went there, at the end of that experience, I would listen to the main song, I think it's Celine Dion. I think it's Celine Dion, the one that sings that "My Heart Will Go On." I listened to that song repeatedly for a few weeks, and it's because the experience of being on the Titanic Museum, just it does that. I played that song over and over for a while, and the same thing happened whenever I went and took my mom to go and visit the Laura Ingalls Wilder Rocky Farm in Mansfield, Missouri. When we got done visiting the Laura Ingalls Wilder house, for several weeks, I was repetitively listening to the intro music to Little House on the Prairie, just because. So, at some point I'm going to make a video going down the gravel road that I took you all down before on Masses Creek. But it's going to be a little bit, I'm going to wait for the water to recede so the creeks are easier to pass. I mean, I was able to get through a lot of creeks when they were low. And the other day that I tried going through them, the creek that had the pictures of me making a rooster tail with the back tire, you know, that water was actually deep enough that, you know, when it got the belt wet, it was just spinning. It wasn't doing anything, it was just spinning. It wouldn't even go into gear. Well, it wouldn't move because it was spinning. Once it got dry, it started moving again. But that's how high that water was. High enough to get the case underwater. I didn't fully cross but one slab because that slab was pretty decently low. I mean, it still had enough water to go over it that I still felt, you know, accomplished on this little bike. But that second one, the rain, it had been rained so much and the water had been going over it so much that the slab was actually kind of, it was actually slick from the algae that had built up in the water on the slab. So it was really slick. I haven't really been showing you guys a whole lot of the sides. You guys are just getting a lot of the road action. The way that hill is cleared out, I don't know what's, you know, I have a feeling that on the other side of that hill that I've got you facing at, I think there's a lake over there. I think that's a lake up on top of that, because it's very cleared off, just over that crest. Over the peak, over the peak of that. There's a little stream going over there. But yeah, over that peak, it's an open area, so I think there's a lake over there. Now we're starting to go up the hills. So from empty, actually, the second black line, or the first black line, right next to the E, when the tachometer, or when the gauge is actually sitting right on that line, it only takes $1.50 to fill this tank up. And I can get hours of enjoyment out of riding. Hours of enjoyment of riding for $1.50. I had my wife use this bike back and forth to work a couple of days. Well, the first time I told her to take it to work, the very next day, it didn't even want to start. And so she didn't take it in. But I got home after she said she didn't take it because it didn't want to start. When I got home, it fired right up. It started right up, it was fine. I rode it several laps around town, shut it off, went back outside later, turned it back on, and it still fired up. But she couldn't get the start, so she didn't take it into work. Well, the next time she actually did take it into work, you know, she could not get it to start after work, and it had rained. Just showing you all the beautiful scenery. Yeah, she couldn't get the bike to start up right after it rained. She called me up, she says, I've been trying for 20 minutes to get it started. I said, well, you're obviously not doing something right, because if I get up there and it starts right up, then it's your problem. And I got up there, and sure enough, my first twist and my first start, it fired right up. And I said, huh, it didn't start up, huh? And she said, well, it didn't start up for me, and I was trying it for 20 minutes. I was like, well, it did for me. And that could have been because, you know, of her attempts. But if she had been a little bit more patient before calling me, she probably would have gotten it to start. Oh, come on, I'm like creeping up this. There's a drop off over here. I'm creeping up this. There we go. Slowly but surely. Green trees, vegetation growth everywhere. Now, when it was raining the other day and me and my oldest were riding and we were soaked, I had to jump onto the highway for a moment, and as we were ripping through the curves, at every bit of 25 on here, I heard a big splat. I mean, it was a smack. And then I hear, ow, that hurt. My oldest daughter got whacked in the face with a big water from the rain. Oh man, I started to hiccup. Hopefully don't stay that way. But yeah, she got whacked in the face from a big raindrop. I heard it. I mean, it was a smack. Now, neither one of us had glasses on. I didn't have my glasses on because it wasn't going to do me any good. I mean, I guess I should have, but still didn't think it was going to do me good. The only thing I had was my sunglasses, and it was already dark enough. So, you know, I'm taking, you know, we're taking water droplets to the eyes. A vineyard, a vineyard. Makes me wonder what this looks like. It is, yeah, it's closed. Private property. It doesn't even look like it's being used, but, you know, just because it looks like it doesn't mean it isn't. But yeah, there's some grapevines, vineyards going on. That's what I like about our hometown. Well, my hometown. My hometown is, if you look up the history of Hermann, Missouri, this town was based, I mean, it was built upon grapevines and making wine, because, you know, that's what they succeeded on, making wine. And so for many, many years, that's what it was, wine, until the Prohibition. And then the winery was stopped for just about all of them. And then, or at least for a few wineries. My Lord, I cannot get enough of this beautifulness. I mean, you come over a hill and you see that. A video just doesn't do it justice when you're actually experiencing it in the moment. It is gorgeous. You can see for miles. I bet you I could get out there though. I could definitely ride all that. I got a full tank. I'd make it 100+ miles. I haven't even gone that far. Not yet, but I could. I'd be halfway through the state. Shoot, a tank of gas, I'll be in St. Louis. Honestly, I've had bikes where I did that, where the first time I ever really rode a scooter from my hometown, I made it all the way to another small town, and I called my wife and I said, hey, I went from Hermann to this little town, and my wife's like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you don't care? And she goes, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then the next time is when I actually went out all the way from Hermann to Ameristar Casino on my little 49cc on my first little scooter that I had. That one was the very first scooter I had was Tao Tao Thunder 50. It was the white with the black. It was the white with the black fairings. Now I actually picked up a recent one not too long ago last year, and I rode it for a little bit, and it didn't last long. And then I sold that bike as a parts bike to another person. So it was basically the same bike that I bought the very first time that I ever took off all the way to Ameristar Casino from Hermann. So I filled up in McKittrick, just outside of Hermann, and then I rode all the way to Ameristar, and then I got all the way back, almost all the way back. I filled up in what the heck was it? It was gosh darn, I can't even think of the name of the town that I filled up in. But there was a town I filled up at, and it was you know, it was only a few miles from Hermann, but I filled up. So, and that got me the rest of the way, because at that point I was at a quarter of a tank from the point when I left Hermann to fill it. So by the time I left McKittrick and got down to Ameristar, I got back to the other little town I can't even think of. I was at a quarter of a tank at that point. So to be on the safe side, I filled it up, and that got me the rest of the way home. And from there, my adventures of riding on scooters began. And then I was at the car show in Hermann one day, and there was some motorcycles that were parked, and I parked my scooter next to the motorcycles in that area. And there was a lady that was walking over to the bikes, because there was a person getting on the Harley, and she said, at first, I know somebody said, is that your bike? And they weren't talking to me, they were talking to another person. And the person said, no, but you go from that to this. And he was pointing at my bike, and then pointing at his. He goes, yeah, you start off with something like that, and you go to this. And he wasn't wrong. I mean, I've ridden some big bikes, and you know, so he was right about that. I went from scooters to bikes, back to scooters. I love them all. I can't say it enough. I love all the bikes, regardless of the sizes. But I get more enjoyment just riding, you know, small bikes, just cruising around, literally cruising around. Oh my, the scenery that I have out here, seeing all this, it's so relaxing for me. I'm sure there's some gravel roads out where you all live that you can ride on, and it just relaxes you. It really does, it relaxes you. Now, I honestly don't even know what the name of this road is. I can't think of it. But people who live in Hermann are familiar with this road, and they don't have to say anything. It's a nice, quiet road. I'd like to keep it that way. I'm sure they would too, but yeah, beautiful, beautiful gravel road. Somebody dumped some tires off. I'm getting close to the ending of it. I know I gotta be. I feel like it's coming up. Once I get to the highway, I'll know it's over for sure. But I also haven't been riding that fast. I mean, I've been going pretty decent, but not fast enough. All right, yeah, it is. Never mind. So I know that this is a long video. I hope that you enjoyed the adventure. If I go that way, that takes me to Gasconade. If I go that way, it takes me back to Hermann. So I'm 87 Ricer. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Those who have to give, peace, love, and joy. Bye.